my God, it's Stevie Richards in an RGT85 ring? What's up, guys? It is I, RGT85, and today is a special day because Retromania Wrestling has finally hit the Nintendo Switch. You might remember about a year and a half ago or so, I actually did the unveiling of this game as coming to the Nintendo Switch. Stevie Richards was on the video. It was a very fun video, but this is the sequel to Wrestlefest, WWF Wrestlefest, which is the greatest wrestling arcade game of all time. Yeah, you know, WrestleMania was a good arcade game, Royal Rumble was all right, but Wrestlefest is the game that I love. I have a Wrestlefest arcade 1-up cabinet that I made. Make sure you guys check out that video. I'm wearing Wrestlefest shorts. I have a Wrestlefest jacket. There's a lot of Wrestlefest love in this house. So to have not only a spiritual successor, but an official sequel to this game is absolutely awesome. So I've been playing this game a bunch on the Xbox Series X, but for my video, I wanted to play the Switch version of the game because that's the version I talked about. That's the version that RetroSoft let me unveil. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the game today, and I'm going to show you guys sort of some gameplay tips, some of the different modes you could do, and just all sorts of fun stuff. So as you can see here, we have some different game modes. We have a story mode, which has you playing as Johnny Retro, who is of course John Morrison in the WWE, kind of a tutorial sort of thing, but there's lots of fun stuff as far as the writing is concerned, such as like if you're a wrestling fan, you'll get lots of little marks that are said during it, so that's pretty cool. The 10 pounds of gold, which is your basically capturing the NWA championship from NWA champion Nick Aldis. You have to beat a certain amount of wrestlers, and then you can challenge Nick Aldis, and then you have to defend the belt. The Retro Rumble, which is sort of the Royal Rumble style of things where things get very crazy, a versus mode, and then various options to mess with. So let's just get into a match. I want to show you guys, I guess, like 2 different match styles and whatnot, just so you guys can sort of get a feeling for what this game is all about. Let's take a look at the roster here. We're going to do a fatal 4-way. We have Hawk and Animal from the Legion of Doom, or the Road Warriors. Of course, they were the final bosses in Wrestlefest in the tag team mode. You couldn't technically play as them, like you kind of could in the game, but now we can officially play as them, so that's awesome. We have Johnny Retro, aka John Morrison from the WWE. That's one thing you're going to see with the roster of this game. Obviously, there's a lot of WWE Legends contracts out there, so you can't get the same sort of roster you had in games of like Legends of Wrestling or Showdown Legends of Wrestling or anything like that, but I think they did a good job at what they could have access to. We have Stevie Richards, Big Stevie Cool, Nick Aldis, who is the current NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nikita Koloff from the Territory days, big in the NWA, Hollywood Nova, and the Blue Guy, Blue Meanie from, of course, ECW, WWE fame, Tommy Dreamer from every wrestling company ever, and he's still in Impact Wrestling, Jeff Cobb, who's known from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's also in AEW. He did a match against Jon Moxley. Austin Idol, once again from the Territory days. He actually has a wrestling school now. Colt Cabana, join the Dark Order. From, of course, AEW, we have Warhorse, who appeared on AEW Dynamite, one of the biggest independent wrestlers in the world. Zack Sabre Jr., one of the biggest wrestlers out of the UK. Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, of course, from the WWE. They're in Impact Wrestling now. Brian Myers and Matt Cardona actually have a wrestling figure podcast, and of course, Brian Myers has a wrestling school. A lot of great wrestlers are coming out of there. So a really interesting variety of wrestlers. All of them have, of course, their own unique movesets and whatnot. So we're just going to go with good old Johnny Retro here. And let's take a look at the different options you can do in the game. So there's a time limit. We're going to put up a steel cage. You can do falls count anywhere, ring count, elimination battle, or AI battle if you just want to sit back and watch. I want to do the big blue because I mean, I'm an old wrestling fan, and that's what I grew up on. So let's put in Warhorse. Let's put Zack Sabre Jr. in here, and to get some of that little WWE feeling to it, let's throw in Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder. Oh, radio. Now, of course, you have different arenas that you can wrestle in. The Retromania one, a school one, a ballroom. All of these are sort of introduced to you when you're playing through the story mode of the game. Let's go with I like the NWA ring. I like the Retromania ring. It's just a classic wrestling ring. As you can see here, we have full entrances for all of the wrestlers as well. That, of course, you could skip, but I figured out you guys would probably want to see this because, I mean, wrestler entrances are cool. You know, it's cool to have a gimmick. It's cool to have, you know, some reason to get behind the wrestler. So you can see here, we got Zack Sabre coming out now. We just had Warhorse and, of course, me as Johnny Retro. So, like I said, you know, the roster is going to be expanding. They're adding in James Storm and Chris Bay from Impact Wrestling. James Storm, of course, has been around forever. And Mr. Hughes from old school WWF. He stole The Undertaker's urn. And, you know, that was a pretty big thing. He actually had a really good match against Sabu in ECW. Look that up on YouTube. You have the ring announcer here, who is the guy from NWA. I can't recall his name right now. I'm sorry. I think it's Joe Gallo, but I don't want to say that. We're going to skip this little intro here. And here we go. We are into the match. Now, on commentary, we have Ian Riccaboni from ROH, who, crazy small world. Like 15 years ago, I used to talk to him on the WrestleCrap forums all the time. And now he's like, you know, in the actual world of wrestling. And Colt Cabana, and yes, Colt Cabana is a wrestler in the game, but you also, he plays into that. He's like, how am I in two places at once? So as you can see here, it is an action-packed wrestling game, very high on speed and things like that, very arcadey. But unlike in WrestleFest, where you just grapple and then you do a move, there's actually a momentum system that's very similar to things like Fire Pro Wrestling. Obviously, a bit smaller in terms of scale and whatnot, but it definitely plays into a big role in this game. So when you lock up, you see that you have an L, an M, and an H. That's low, medium, and high. Each button is dedicated to a low attack, a medium attack, and a high attack when you're in a grapple. Now, in order to utilize a move in the low, medium, or high, your bar has to be filled up to the point of where it has, you know, stuff in it. So you can't just bust out high attacks and spam high attacks the whole time. You have to gradually build up that meter, which feels a lot like Fire Pro Wrestling. When you're in a grapple, each direction has a different move to it as well. So up, down, left, right, plus the appropriate button will do a move. So there's a great variety of moves in this game. I'm gonna do a little taunt here. All right, let's have a little fun. So as you can see, you can go all over the ring, and of course, when you're in other modes, you can take to the top, sky up top. But we're gonna go off the cage, baby. Ooh. So yeah, you know, you could jump off the cage and do all sorts of crazy stuff in here. Warhorse wins. The matches, you can adjust how the meters build up and how long the matches go. But, you know, it's an arcade style of wrestling game. So, you know, you kind of want those quicker matches. One thing I do want to say in a tag team mode, be wary, because when you tag or when you pin someone, you will take the place of your partner on the ring side. So kind of keep that in mind. I know a lot of people were confused by that, but that's what ends up happening. You end up taking over the character on the ring side so you can get in the ring and stop someone from breaking up the pin. But now we're going to take a look at something special. So we got to go with Stevie, of course, because I mean, it's Stevie. We're going to add in, let's go with Dreamer. Select the stage. You know it's coming. The Too Many Games Arena. So here's the Too Many Games Arena, which is a convention that takes place outside of Philly in Oaks, Pennsylvania. And you can see that there's a lot of, you know, people in this crowd. You got Limited Run Games, who will be doing a physical version of this game eventually. You have various podcasts and whatnot on here, but there's one thing. You got Stupid Wood there in the back. Get out of here, Wood. Nobody wants to see your ugly, stupid Australian face in my video. But if we go to the outside here, you can see that there's tables set up outside the ring. And then I could throw this gentleman into this table. That's an RGT85 ring, folks. That is an RGT85 ring, as RGT85 is hanging out. He's hanging out with the people. This is insanity. I am in the sequel to WrestleFest on the Nintendo Switch, on the Xbox. Like, it's crazy. I'm trying not to get like emotional over this, but like, I don't know, man. It's just like, it's so crazy to me how you could throw someone into my table, and Tommy Dreamer is just kicking my ass right now. We're going to hit him with a Stevie kick though. But it's so crazy to me that you could throw someone into my table and I'm in a match with Tommy Dreamer. I could be in a match with the Road Warriors. I could be in the match, you know, with the whole roster. And, you know, there are limitations to the roster. And some of the things that, you know, people are going to have complaints about with the game is, of course, you know, oh, I want such and such wrestler. I want creator wrestler. This was not a project that was crowdfunded. This was not a project that did anything like that. Like, this was just passion. And as a passion project, they absolutely nailed it. And if the game is successful, they do plan on adding in a bunch of more stuff into the game. You know, there's already DLC characters that are coming in and stuff. They're talking about adding in things like online mode, which I think would be awesome. But it's just, if you are a fan of WrestleFest, it's a great game. They did a great job of capturing the spirit of WrestleFest as far as the gameplay is concerned, but refining it and expanding upon it as well to do things like this meter bar where you can, you know, control the match more than you could in something like WrestleFest. And it plays very smooth, you know, no bugs or anything like that. Uh-oh. It is not looking good for Tommy Dreamer. Steamy kick, baby! Let's go. We're going home. 1, 2, 3. In the RGT85 ring. Obviously, I love this game. Obviously, I'm biased towards this game. You know, I have no monetary reason to be biased towards it, but, you know, this to me is my Sonic Mania. This is my new Ninja Turtles that's coming out later this year. Like, wrestling is very important to me. WrestleFest is a very important game, and to be a part of this game, you know, is just it's mind-blowing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comment section down below if you plan on picking up this game. I bought the little collector's edition that came with like an instruction book and a poster and stuff like that. I didn't come with the physical card. And when the game comes out on limited run games, I'm going to buy it again. Like, this is a game that I want to support. This is a game that I find to be really fun and just really awesome in general. So let me know what you think of the game in the comment section down below if you plan on picking it up. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.